Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the GTZ project. This is really the first episode that we're going to be diving into the GTZ, getting our hands a little dirty. We've got the Flossman Carbon GT3 replica body kit on the way. So that should be here in a little while. It's going to take some time, coming from Germany, obviously. One of the first things that we actually really need to do is get all of the interior out of this car. I'm going to be taking the car up to Turn In Concepts for those guys to do the cage. They're up in Cincinnati. Really trust them. They do a really great job. Know that I've already been talking with Tony. We've already been talking about the cage that we need to put in, some of those things. So I'm going to get all of the interior bits taken out. But actually, one of the first things I want to do is actually want to weigh this car and see where it is, right? This car is absolutely stock on stock. I kind of want to see where this car ends up as it sits now. Are we over 3,500 pounds? Gosh, I hope not. Are we maybe, just over 34? Okay, that'd be okay. If we were somewhere between 33 and 3,400 pounds, I'd be pretty happy with that. I don't know, we'll kind of see. I don't know how much gas is in the car currently. Let's see if we can check that out. I'm gonna need keys. I can't remember. I think there's quite a bit of gas in here, but we will see. All right, yeah, it is pretty much almost full. So, quite a bit of gas in here, which is fine. That'll inflate the numbers a little bit. Ultimately, where we end up, I'd like to end up somewhere between 3,000 and 3,100 pounds, at least initially. Obviously, we're gonna be putting the cage in the car, so ultimately, with this first sort of step of getting the interior out and then putting the cage in, I'm hoping that we end up with a net negative, although I know that that's going to be, questionable. The roof itself, obviously, is going to weigh a ton. There's a couple things that I'm going to need to do to the car before I actually get it to the guys at Turn In Concepts. So I've got a OMP seat here. I've also got another OMP seat that's going to be going into the passenger side, and then the hard top is going to be taken off, and then we're going to make a mold of this, and then we're going to do a carbon hard top. So obviously that'll be a huge weight savings. I don't even know how much this hard top weighs. I can imagine the hard top weighs 50, 60, 70 pounds maybe, in terms of all the mechanicals and the bracing and everything like that. I mean, obviously it needs to be substantial. It's an automatic retraction system, so there's a lot of gears. I think it's a hydraulic system as well, so we're going to be taking all of that out. But we need to have the hard top in place, as well as the seats, so that when they put the cage in the car, they make sure that there's clearances everywhere, and they know where to put the roll bar, where to put all the down tubes, etc., where to put the front tubes, so that everything fits. And that they don't put the cage in, and then we go to put other stuff back on and things don't fit. So obviously those are some of the big things that we need to figure out. But at this point, we're gonna pull out all the interior bits that we can. We have to keep some things, basically most everything from the front seats. Now, not that this car has rear seats, but basically from the seats forward, we're gonna need to keep the carpet. We'll need to keep the dash, a lot of the other sort of panels, and that is a requirement for street mod as well as street. You generally have to have at least some interior pieces still in there, but we'll be able to take a lot of stuff out. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's get started. So the car's down. I have not looked at the weight yet, so we are going to see it together, and let's see what happens. Whew, here we go. What do we got? All right, 34 52. Not terrible. We're definitely on the higher end. It's not 35, but I mean, that's nearly a full tank of gas, although with that being said, it's a 14-gallon tank in this thing, so it's not like it's a ton of fuel. There's probably 12 gallons in there, I would bet. So, quite a bit, 3,400 pounds. Even if we lose 200 pounds, you know, we're gonna be putting quite a bit more. So even to get into the 3,300 range, we'll see what happens. Made some progress on the trunk of the car. As you can see, I've pretty much gotten all of the trim out, which is actually sitting over here in these buckets. Got a lot of these pieces out, so I'm able to see a lot of the mechanisms that are operated for this folding roof. You can see here, this bar and this sort of mechanism is what operates this shelf. So what's interesting is that the trunk is actually bolted here to this shelf piece, which is a really, really hard plastic. So the roof mechanism is actually a lot of this piece here. And I think that, as far as I can tell, looks like there's a bolt here, and then there's another one up further up. And so I think that based on that, if I were to undo those, and I think there's one other bolt that is connected to, you can sort of see it back up in there, right there. I think if I were to undo those, I would be able to, for the most part, get, just pull the hard top out, which would be the back section and the front section together. That is my hope. One other thing I forgot to mention is here. So here's the hydraulic pump. So this pump is what operates a lot of the mechanisms that take the roof up and down. So it's a fairly complicated system, as expected. I'm gonna move on to the interior of the car, see if I can start getting the seats and some of that type of stuff out as well. I just wanted to kind of check what the weight is of these seats. They're probably, I imagine they're going to be very similar to the seats that I had in my 135i, which I took those out, replaced them with bucket seats. Obviously did the same with the M4. Both of those seats weighed about somewhere around right around 50 pounds. I imagine these are going to be the same. All of those seats were electric. So yeah, so these things are pretty heavy. So I'm going to throw it on the scales, see where we're at. It is almost just too slightly big to fit. All right, we're going to need 2 scales. Much better. All right, look at that. 63 pounds, 62 pounds. Not bad at all. I'll take that. There's 122 pounds. The driver and passenger seats are out. On the passenger seat, I found an umbrella and a pair of reading glasses underneath the seat. Under the driver's seat, a bit nastier. We got a straw, pretty gross there. Got a dime, how about that? 10 cents, that's going to the race car fund. We'll need that. But otherwise, not too bad. Gonna get this vacuumed out and then gonna start working on some of the trim back in here. We've obviously got some speakers here as well as up in here. So we'll start getting a lot of this stuff out. Back here is going to be coming out. We've obviously got the rollover protection here. So once I kind of get this stuff out, I'll be able to see what's back there. We've also got to get the headliner out as well, a lot of that stuff. So keep working away, plugging away, get to some of this stuff here. Back here for day 2, working on the interior of the Z4. Here's the actual interior of the car. So you can see I got a lot of the panels and everything off of the back. Got all the speakers out as well. So happy to see that. Also got the headliner out. If I can get the carpet out and get a lot of the dash trim off, that'll basically leave me with pulling the dash out and then also figuring out the roof. So we're making some headway. We're getting there, but still also lots of things to do before I can get the car to the guys that turn in to do the roll cage. So let's get back to it. more progress was made. We still have a ways to go, but for the most part, the interior is out, as you can see. I was able to get the carpet out, so I just started cutting big portions of it out. But otherwise, pretty happy with the progress I made. Back at it out here in the garage. Throughout this week, I've been able to jump out here and get a couple hours in here and there, and I've made some more progress on the interior of the car as well as the rear of the car and the trunk. As you can see, we still have the main issue, which is the roof, but if we look onto the interior, we've gotten a lot of stuff done. We've got the dash that's obviously out, we've got the door panels off, we've got the rear view mirror off, all the trim around the windshield, everything is out. So this is pretty much done. I've labeled a lot of the wires so that I know where they go, at least I think I know where they go. We obviously still have the main structure for the dash here. We've also still got the heater core in here, and then over on the far right hand side is also the blower. So those may need to come out once we do the roll bar, or I'm sorry, the roll cage, but I'm just going to leave this in here for now. We will have to put some of the other stuff back in, such as the speedometer and some other bits and pieces, the start stop button, things like that. So really made some good progress. Some other things we need to deal with once we get the roof off is this rollover protection, the rollover hoops. We'll need to get these out. I think I should just be able to cut them here and here. There's still sort of a question as to what we're going to do with this big structure, whether or not that's going to stay. If we come around here to the back, again, made a lot of progress here. It looks like a bit of a mess. We got a bunch of hydraulic lines and wires. I've taken the battery out. We've got the hydraulic pump here, and here's the game plan. So my understanding is that if I can get this rear section mechanically unlocked, so there is a way to actually free this up so that you can mechanically move it without the hydraulics. I can move this piece up on top of the front section, so I can move this rear section up on top of this front section of the roof, which is how the roof normally folds, and then should be able to come back here. You guys can see that we've got the trunk off. This shelf, I think, bolts here to the bar supports, and this this structure here with this support allows the shelf to pivot back, and we've got a hydraulic piston in here. All of this support and this mechanism is actually bolted to the chassis, so there's no way to really get this rear section of the supports out while this is connected. So I think I have to get this up. From there, I can get the shelf off through these bolts. From there, I can then unbolt these supports, because these will then be independent of each other. I should be able to get those out. Still going to be some questions on what I need to do with all these hydraulic lines, but I think I know. In the end, they may just end up getting cut. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But once I get that out, then that should free me up to unbolt these supports. And this is the main support that actually moves the roof section. So I should be able to actually just take the roof section out once I have these out as well. So I'm sure that all sounds easier said than done. We'll see what happens. But if I can get the roof off, that is going to be, I mean, that really is the last remaining big hurdle. So I need to be able to get that done. That is the game plan. Yeah, let's get into it. So we're inside the cab here, looking at this back folding mechanism for the roof. So this is the rear glass back here. And from what I have seen online, you can put, well, there's actually a tool that BMW makes. Well, let me correct that. There's a tool that BMW no longer makes that actually fits into here, and then you can attach a socket and you basically rotate this portion, and it's supposed to mechanically unlock the hydraulic cylinder that's in here. And once that is unlocked, then this roof can freely move up and down. So because I don't have that tool, I've got some very short stubby screwdrivers that I'm going to try and see if I can get this to work. Let's see if this, ooh, it fits just barely. All right. And then here, I don't really know what, is it supposed to go up or down? I don't know. All right, I was able to see the piston start moving a little bit there. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Saw a little bit of movement. You can see here I've actually got a little more room with this, because this is, let's see if we can turn you guys around up here. You guys can see the little pivot point here, so I think that is, and the piston here, so I think that that is what we need to keep working on. Saw a little bit of movement there. Oh man, we are close. So this pivot keeps moving downwards, back this piece back here. So I think that is where we need to keep going with it. Oh, there we go. So I saw this this little hook right here behind this rod, this hook released. And you can actually see we've actually got some daylight down here now. All right, guys, there we go. That was interesting. Let me get the other side. All right, I was able to get the other side unlocked as well. So both these sides are unlocked. It looked like there was quite a bit of movement in this thing, so I think we should be able to lift this up. It's probably not the best thing to be using the glass, but oh, come on. Come on. It's going. There's a little bit of tension. It's going. All right. I want to make sure this thing doesn't like slam down. Oh, we're cooking. Yes. Perfect. All right. Now we got some access. Check that out. Top is off. It was not pretty, but I was able to get it off. Had to use the wife's help. I owe her a nice dinner. She did a great job. The roof is pretty heavy. That's why it was not pretty trying to get it off. But we did get it done. So got the upper part of the roof there. Got some brackets. We got the hydraulic pump there. Got the rear section. Got a tub there because I want to weigh some of this stuff. So we'll see sort of what all this stuff weighs. But yep, here we go. Everything is out. All the supports are out. Got a lot of the brackets out. Wiring, hydraulic lines, everything. So, but yeah, let's get some of this stuff weighed and see what the top weighs. All right, first up is the hydraulic pump and just a couple brackets, and that weighs 16 pounds. So I did tear the plastic bucket and the towel that I put in the bottom there. So that 16 pounds is the actual weight. Next up, we'll do the shelf with its supports, and then we'll weigh the roof and its supports, and we'll see where we're at. So let's see what that weighs. Where are we at? 50 pounds, look at that. Currently sitting at 66 pounds. Had to bust out all 4 scales to really get this thing to sit properly and be able to measure everything. But got everything on there. So let's check out where we're at. Oh boy, look at that. 110 pounds. That is way more than I was expecting. So 110 pounds plus, well, we had 66 pounds for the shelf and for the hydraulic pump. So for a total of 176 pounds, 176 pounds for the roof. I think I'm getting a little more hopeful here that we're gonna come out a net positive with all of this stuff removed. Obviously there's still gotta be quite a bit that goes back in, but not bad, 110 pounds for that roof in total to be replaced with a carbon roof. See, man, we're so close to finishing this up. At this point, I think the interior is pretty much done. There's really not much else I'm going to do other than I'm going to start putting a bunch of the components back into the dash. I've got to get the seats in because they're going to need to know where the seats are, so that when they build the cage and they build the door bars and things like that, they know where everything needs to go. I'm going to get that in, and that will pretty much wrap up this episode. Both seats are in. Got them pretty much exactly where I want them. Got the driver's seat, which is the OMP with the halo. And then we got just a bit more basic OMP first R seat. Again, using the same mounts, using the VAC Motorsport floor mounts with OMP side mounts. And then we will have Lifeline harnesses that'll get installed. All that'll be done once we actually have the roll cage installed. But got these installed, so before we wrap up this episode, the last thing I want to do is throw this back on the scales and kind of see where we're at. How about that? 2974. That is 2974. That is pretty awesome. This little thing, under 3,000 pounds currently. And now we still have other stuff to kind of get rid of. We still got stuff on the interior that will probably be coming out once we actually have the roll cage in there. Obviously that's gonna add some weight back to it. We've also got the carbon body kit, so how much weight is that going to reduce? We've obviously got the hood, which is going to be pretty substantial. It's a pretty big hood. And we got some of the other fenders and things like that. So definitely some weight is still going to come off, but we will also be adding in the wing, the aero, stuff like that. So lots of stuff to still deal with, but under 3,000 pounds, that's pretty solid. So that'll wrap it up for this episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one.